All right, folks. Hey, glad you could join me for today's remote learning lesson. Hey, it's only one day. We can get through this. Hey, just real quickly here, I'm going to go ahead and open up homework tab for you to submit Friday's homework assignment. And so just submit that there, and I'll give you points for that. And we'll come back to class on Tuesday and talk about those problems from your homework from Friday, okay? But what I want to get into for today is ratios and proportions. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. Hopefully you can see this okay. Let's see here. Yeah, oh, but I think it's upside down. Let me go this way. First time I've done this year, and so it's a little tricky here. Okay, and I want to zoom in. That's maybe too close. There we go. Okay, so you have this paper here, and I'm going to go walk through this with you just real quick so you can have some notes for yourself. But the first thing is this. I'm going to read through this top paragraph here. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. The ratio of x to y can be expressed as, and this is important, x to y, x colon y, or x over y. Okay? So if I was to do 2 to 3, that's the same as 2 to 3, which is the same as 2/3. Okay? Ratios are usually expressed in simplest form. An equation stating that the two ratios are equal is called a proportion, okay? And we'll get into more proportions later. To determine whether two ratios form a proportion, express both ratios in the simplest form or check the equal cross products, okay? So one way is what they're saying is, are these two fractions the same? Well, if I reduce this fraction down 16/32, it's going to end up becoming 1/2. Okay? And so we know that they're both the same. Or if I was to ask, are these equal? I'll put a question mark over my equal sign there. Are they equal? I can take the cross product here. 2 times 16 is 32. And 1 times 32 is also 32. And if their cross products are equal, then you know you have the same ratios, okay? Still trying to get this even closer here. There you go, all right? So the next one says this, 5/8 is that equivalent to 10/15. Well, if I reduce 10/15, this is going to become 2/3, which is not the same as 5/8. Okay, I can't reduce 5/8. The other thing I could do, if I put this down here, I'm not sure if they're equal, so I put a question mark. I'm going to do 8 times 10, which is 80, and 5 times 10, which is 75, and you can see that they are not equal, and so as a result, these ratios are not the same. Okay? Now, I'm going to skip the last one there and just go to the back side. On the back side, it says this, solve each proportion, if necessary, round to the nearest hundredth. Now remember, the nearest hundredths place, just to set this up, is you've got 0 point, okay? So nearest hundredths, and maybe I should just put a blank spot there, but this is the tenths place, this is the hundredths place, so 2 places after the decimal. And remember, we always go to the thousandths place, and we figure out if that is 5 or more, we're going to raise this one up 1. If it's 4 or less, we keep it the same, okay? So when I cross multiply here on number 1, I get 2 times x. And I get 8 times, now it's hard to see there, folks, but I think that's supposed to be -3. So I'm going to make this -24. Now from there, if I divide through both sides by 2, I get a -12. Okay? This is my answer for x. Now to check my answer, I can go ahead and plug it in over here. -3 divided by -12. Well, if I divide, let's see here, both parts out, I'm going to end up getting a 3/12 becomes 1/4. Okay. 2/8 also becomes a 1/4. And so these are equal here, so I know I've done it correctly. I end up with x equaling 12, okay? You could also divide it out, just put -3 over -12 in your calculator. -3 divided by -12 gets 0.25. 2 eighths also gives you 0.25, okay? Let's drop down to number 4 here. When we take the cross product here, 4 times 3 is 12. Now when you take the cross product here, I want everyone to do this with me. I want you to write it out. Why do you think I want you to do that? Well, it's because if you don't, then you may forget to do this. So we end up with 4x plus 4. And then if I subtract 4, I get 8. And then if I divide through by 4, you get x equals 2. Okay? Now again, how do I check this? If I plug my x back in right there, I get 2 plus 1, which is 3 over 4. Does that equal 3 over 4? The answer is yes, so this is my correct answer there. Okay. Let's see here. Keeping in line with that, maybe I'll do this one as well. Number 10. You end up cross multiplying here. Now remember how I want you to write this out. Make sure you put your parentheses there. Cross multiplying here, you get 48. Now from there, we're going to distribute in the parentheses. And then from there, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Now 4 goes into, let's see here, 4 goes into 5 once. With 1 left over, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So there you go, 4b equals 14. Okay? And what you're going to see here, these both are 4 on top. If I put in 14 right here, 14 minus 2 is 12. So I end up with b equaling 14 is the correct answer. Okay? Now, I'm going to jump over here to number 11. This one gets to be a little tricky, and I want to see if you guys knew this from last year. If I multiply 12 times 1.5, I'm going to get 18. If I multiply x times x, it's not 2x. It's going to be x squared. X times x. 3 times 3 is what? It's actually 3 squared. Okay? X times x is x squared. So from there, if I go ahead and square root, I want to undo a square. I'm going to square root both sides. All right. And so from there, let's see here. It's not a perfect square, so I'm going to type this into my calculator. Second radical 18. Oh, there we go. I got 4.24. The next number is a 2, which is why I leave it just as a 4. Okay? So again, nearest hundredths place there. Okay? All right, to finish things off, I've got 2 story problems I'm going to do with you as well. But if I cross multiply here, 4 times negative y is negative 4y. This one, again, remember, I would like you to write it out like this. I'm going to distribute that 8 into the parentheses. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8y from both sides. I end up with a negative 12y. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 12. Okay. Now what that gives me is y is equal to negative 2. Okay. Now if I plug that back in over here, 3 plus negative 2 is 1, so I have 1/4 on this side. Okay. On this side, if I plug in negative 2, a negative y is the same thing as saying negative 2, which is actually a positive 2. So 2/8 gives me also 1/4, and so I know that y equals negative 2. Okay. All right, now we have a couple of models down here that I want to make sure we understand how to do. So looking at number 16, it says, to make a model of the Guadalupe River bed, Hermie used 1 inch of clay for 5 miles of river water. Okay, I might underline that in my in my problem there. Just underline that. Okay. So 1 inch equal to 5 miles of the river's actual length. His model river was 50 inches long. How long is the Guadalupe River? Okay. So if I do this, I'm doing 1 inch is 5 miles. That's going to be the same as, now the 50 inches here, the 50 inches for part of the model, corresponds with the inches from the previous fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and put down 50 inches here and x miles here. And now I can go ahead and cross multiply. And there you go. Okay. If you cross multiply here, you get 250. If you cross multiply here, you get x. Okay. All right, very last one. Josh finished 24 math problems in 1 hour. So that's important. Okay. At that rate, how many hours will it take him to complete 72 problems? Well, if I do 1 hour is 24 problems, that will equal how many hours to get 72 problems? Okay. So if I cross multiply, I get 24x is equal to 72. And then if I divide 3 by 24, I get x is equal to, I believe it's 3. Let me double check here. Yeah, 72 divided by 24 is 3. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, if you could go ahead, now that you've been able to go over the notes with me, if you could go ahead and do these homework problems for me for Tuesday, that would be great. Okay. So hopefully that made sense to you guys. If it didn't, find a friend. Okay. Email me, let me know. But otherwise, the expectation is that you have those notes filled out and page 119 completed come Tuesday. All right. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you later.